Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. Greetings and salutations, positive heads. Here we go again. We're back for another episode. I'm back. You're back. We're all back. So happy to be here with you guys. I am going to talk about a little bit of multidimensionality or perspective on people leaving. You know, we've had, of course, they say, deaths always come, celebrity deaths come in threes, right? And there's been several celebrity deaths this week, one of which has gotten the most attention, Chris Cornell. And so I talked a little bit about that the other day. And so that just seems to have been, a theme this week, seeing a lot of things about it. So I figured, maybe the signs are I should talk a little bit more about death. Maybe, perhaps, someone out there, this would be beneficial, and dealing with losing loved ones. And so, yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about that sort of thing, and that, and the idea that we talk about death as, we look at it as this awful thing, this scary thing, this negative thing, when really I don't believe there's anything negative about it at all. And so hopefully we can help alleviate some of the fears that may be circulating out there about this actual wonderful, greatest adventure, the last great adventure. I saw a quote somewhere recently. It said, "Death is the only great adventure." So I don't know if I agree it's the only great adventure, but it is a great adventure. So we'll come back to that here in a moment. Before I dive in a little bit further, I'd like to read a review on iTunes. And you guys know I love my iTunes reviews. They certainly help to fuel my fire, keep me keeping on with this labor of love. And of course, it helps us to reach new people. So really appreciate you guys taking the time to give your feedback and sending some love back in my direction. It is much appreciated. And this one is by Lovely Stars. Phantasmic is the title. And then it's fantastic / cosmic, it's sort of in parentheses as a explanation of what phantasmic is. I love this word. Thank you for expanding my vocabulary in the coolest way. Phantasmic it is. It's officially in my vocabulary. And Lovely Stars says, "I'm a dedicated listener to this podcast. It has helped get me to a great place in life and a great headspace. A moment of synchronicity happened yesterday I feel prompted to share. Since I'm a regular listener, I began listening to older episodes when I'm craving more. I was feeling down yesterday for no specific reason. I put on an older episode and walked outside. At the same moment, a butterfly floated right past my face. Right after this, Brandon began talking about butterflies in the episode. I smiled and instantly felt better as I knew the universe was winking at me. Thanks for putting out this life-changing content. Keep it up and much love." Oh, that is a phantasmic review indeed. Lovely Stars. And you know what? What's great about this? The synchronicity with this is I've been talking in the last couple days about a change I want to make on the site. I have lots of ideas, never short on ideas, and one that I'm going to implement shortly where you sort of have a roulette episode. So you can choose, sort of push a button and say, what episode will the universe serve up? Because we've got, almost 500 episodes now. So there's a lot of content there and a lot of different subjects that, I love. You guys hear me talk about notes from the universe. I love notes from the universe because of the randomness and the timing when they come, and then the synchronicity. It's just a way to play with the universe, right? And so now that there's so much content, why not gamify and create something where instead of you randomly choosing, the site randomly chooses for you. So that's something that we're going to be implementing shortly. And then, of course, you can share with friends and tell them to push the button and see what they get. And it should be really interesting to see how that all plays out. I already know there will be incredible synchronicity surrounding it. And looking forward to that. So there is synchronicity even with this review pertaining to what I've been talking about for the last couple days with my developer friend who is going to help put that together. So something a little foreshadowing of some playfulness that's coming your way. Let's see. Moving right along. Oh, by the way, if you haven't joined the Facebook group Positive Heads with an S, please do so. We are there sharing, connecting, supporting one another. It's an amazing group of lovely listeners, soul family, and we'd love to see your beautiful face there as well. So get in there if you're not. Also, of course, you can find the show on other platforms aside from iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, any of the places that you can leave reviews. Please do so. And also questions. Love getting your questions. You can write into Brandon@positivehead.com or just through the website, positivehead.com, the contact page, or in the Facebook group. All right. So moving right along. As I mentioned, I wanted to touch a little bit on death. That's been sort of permeating out there and, in the interwebs, social media. And so there's just so much pain associated with it. And I believe as we shift our perspective, a lot of that pain alleviates and you do see it as a grand adventure. And there isn't this great fear of losing someone. Yes, we don't want to lose someone that we love, obviously, but think about it from the perspective of you also don't want to spend every moment with the person that you love, no matter who it is, your parents, your sibling, your child. We all need breaks from one another, right? So this is the easiest way, I think, to think about it. We all need breaks from one another. And when you're eternal beings, and you always have been and always will be, and you are connected at a level way beyond what you even realize at the physical level, it appears that there's a separation between you and that loved one that you never want to lose. Well, that's sort of a lie or a relative truth. It is true from the physical dimension, but from the ultimate, perspective, you're one with that being. So you can't, it's kind of like in a way, the only way to get a break from yourself, right? To play this game of separation and then say, okay, I've had enough of you. See you in the next life. Or, even if it's a week from vacation in your physical life, whether it's a whole lifetime or lifetimes in eternity. I mean, you got to think in scope, in scale of being an eternal being and what that means and the implications of that. We'll talk about a great adventure, but it also really helps me and hopefully helps you to see that you can't really ever lose anyone or anything. You can only take breaks from someone. I remember hearing Wayne Dyer talk about this a long time ago. He said, life is like, and he was just talking from the physical life perspective, but you can expand this out, right? The microcosm that is your life is just a reflection of the macrocosm, which is, the ultimate you, the higher self you, the source you that is spanning many, many lifetimes. But the way he put it is, Think of your life like a bus, making stops, and you have people that get on and ride along with you for long periods of time, and then they get off at a stop, and then maybe in some cases they get back on later or another point or another day. Others, they're only on for a brief moment and you never see them again, So if you can think of your life in that context and then expand it out to, like I said, your higher self and eternity, death is really only another life. There is no life. There is no death. That's the great illusion. It's changing states, changing focus. And there's this, I found a clip here from the wonderful book, The Prophet by Khalil Gibran on death. That I've talked about before, shared Khalil Gibran's work before, of course, if you go back. But I'll just take this clip on death. He said, "You would know the secret of death, but how shall you find it unless you seek it in the heart of life? The owl whose night-bound eyes are blind unto the day cannot unveil the mystery of light. If you would indeed behold the spirit of death, open your heart wide into the body of life. For life and death are one, even as the river and the sea are one. In the depth of your hopes and desires lies your silent knowledge of the beyond, and like seeds dreaming beneath the snow, your heart dreams of spring. Trust the dreams, for in them is hidden the gate to eternity. Your fear of death is but the trembling of the shepherd when he stands before the king whose hand is to be laid upon him in honor. Is the shepherd not joyful beneath his trembling, that he shall wear the mark of the king? Yet is he not more mindful of his trembling? For what it is to die but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun, and what it is to cease breathing but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered. Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing, and when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb, and when the earth shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance." What an amazing piece there by Khalil Gibran, such an amazing poet. And so I also wanted to find something that talked a little bit about this. And I know some of you guys, one of the people that came to mind is a friend of mine, a lifelong friend, Paul, dealing with dementia and his own family with his father. And, this is something that happens with a lot of families. And, Nancy Reagan, I think, talked about it with Ronald Reagan. It's the long goodbye, Alzheimer's, right? What a tough thing to deal with. Almost, I would say, more difficult, right, than seeing someone go instantly or quickly. And so if any of you out there happen to be dealing with that issue, I found a clip where Abraham-Hicks talks about the multidimensional person is the name of the clip. And I found it on We Are One TV, their YouTube page. And this gives some really, really great perspective on dealing with someone who is in that state, in the process, sort of the long goodbye, the slower transition. Let's take a listen.
Hello. Two parts. Maybe you'll answer my second one after the first is asked. And my father is 89 years old. And I've been caretaking him for quite some time, gone into a nursing home. And he has dementia, not the Alzheimer's. He is clear sometimes, and other times he's in the past, far away with my mother, who passed 6 years ago, with his father, who passed many years ago. And from your perspective, where does he go? How does that serve him? Is he getting ready? Are these people coming to visit him?
Well, that's a good way of putting it, and it's a common way of putting it, because when you think about it, when someone is getting ready to make their transition and therefore is focusing upon those people that they know and love who already have, then they activate in their vibration the vibration of those people, and that active vibration does cause a rendezvousing of consciousness that they are then able to translate into what they would call a real life experience. That's why sometimes they are so content to sit for even long periods of time and just ponder when you say, where does he go? He is actually, you see, before this answer can really make sense to you, you have to start with the understanding that what you're seeing here in this time-space reality is also a translation of vibration. Mm-hmm. And as it's like, think about the idea of focus. So when you focus your eyes in a specific way, you see a specific thing. Have you ever noticed that when you're specifically focused on something, everything in the background sort of is diffused? Because you're focusing specifically. You can focus more broadly or you can focus more sharply. If you're accustomed to seeing energy and you're focused sharply, you don't see energy. But if you diffuse your focus, then you can see energy. Mm-hmm. Out of your peripheral vision, you see all kinds of movement of things that when you turn to look at it, you cannot see. So focus is the operative word here. So in your time-space reality, in the way that you have understand of focusing your vision, there's a focusing of consciousness, and there's an agreement in that focus of consciousness that translates into this time-space reality upon which many of you have strong agreement. In other words, you agree about the physics of this room. You agree about, to a certain extent, the temperature of this room, what you're hearing and seeing. Your experiences are similar, not identical, but similar as you translate this time-space reality. But when you begin to withdraw your focus from this time-space reality, and you don't have to be on your way to what you call your death experience to do it. You can ponder your childhood and go into a completely different vibrational state where anything that's surrounding you right now is not relevant. That's what daydreaming is. You could ponder your vortex, which is what we are really encouraging you to do, and find a vibrational at oneness with this reality that in terms of manifestation is still becoming, but in terms of vibration has already become. Mm-hmm. So whether we're talking about remembering the past, or whether we're talking about focusing into the vortex, or whether we're talking about rendezvousing with non-physical consciousness like Abraham, or like someone who, from your perspective, has reemerged into non-physical, it's all just focus, you see. We would like you to soothe all of it and not try so hard to make it non-physical or physical. Just call it focus. It's an interesting thing how you, in your youthfulness and in your healthfulness, can daydream without being accused of reveling with dead people. But let someone in a nursing home dare to have a daydream. Oh, they're getting ready to pass over. Mm-hmm. They're probably cavorting with others who have already passed over. Mm-hmm. And we say their consciousness is just focusing more freely in the way they did when they first got here. Have you ever watched babies? Oh, the parties they're having. You say, look over here, look over here, look over here. And the baby says, oh, do I have to? Do I have to look over there where all that ridiculous noise and puppetry is going on? I was having a meaningful conversation with source energy here. Do I really have to look at that stupid rattle again? All right, I'll look, and then maybe you'll leave me alone to my own thoughts.
You did answer number 2. Just then, because I was with the rattle with my dad. Come back, talk to me. Be here. I think it's just me missing him.
Well, one of the nice things about understanding that consciousness is eternal is that you realize that there's nothing to miss. In other words, we know that when you were a teenager, you did not want your dad going everywhere you went. You were happy to miss him. You were happy to live your own life. You were happy to move out of his house and into one of your own. You did not miss him so much as want to stay with him. There were all kinds of conversations you did not want to have with your father. You wanted to have with other people. You wanted to have with your contemporaries. You did not want to, in other words, your father, you have not wanted to have every conversation with your father. So now, why does it matter if he's having some conversations with some others? You see what we're getting at?
Yes, I do. That's
a lot of what humans call dementia is a soft withdrawal into the non-physical. It's just easier. It's just easier to focus yourself there, because you all know that as long as you can get someone to listen to you, you're going to control what they think about. Isn't it true? Isn't it sort of kind of true? That if someone will give you any attention at all, that you will hold them in attention?
Yeah.
The teacher in the classroom can feel you wavering. Wait. Come back over here. Come back over here and think about this. I have control of your thought. I want control of your thought. I want your attention, you see. When what's really going on with all of you is that you have never really wanted to give any one person all of your attention. You're too multifaceted. There are too many interesting things. You are too multi-layered. You are too multi-dimensional. You are much broader than your current surroundings ever allow. And the most important thing is that there is a vortex that is always calling you, that is bigger and better than the reality that you are living. Now that's really what we want you to know, that your father is moving toward his vortex. And whether you call the vortex the achievement of his goals, or whether you call it reemerging into the non-physical, you should not feel uncomfortable when anyone is feeling summoned by their vortex, rather than wanting to live the same old news of now reality. Isn't that interesting? Don't you just love knowing that you are eternal and that there will always be interesting things for you to focus upon? What's bothering physical humans is that they don't understand it. You've been telling such a bogus, flaw-based story for so long that because you don't understand the non-physical, you fear it. So when this non-physical vortex is summoning someone into the fullness and completion of who they have become, instead of it being a feeling of exaltation for you, instead of it being something that you're really looking forward to them having the fullness of it, you're over there with the rattle. Come back! Come back! Don't go to all that you've become. Stay here in this boring nursing home.
I get it. Thank you very much.
And as you begin to accurately contemplate the wholeness of who you are, the entireness of who you are, you won't be lonely anymore. You won't be fearful anymore. You won't be guarded anymore. In other words, you'll know that there's always this vortex, this source energy, always with you, always there to chat and confer and affirm and support isn't the perfect word, but bolster and buoy up. In other words, you really, this unknown that you're so worried about is so delicious, you see. And the more you practice your vortex while you're still alive and kicking here in this physical body, the more you'll understand the eternalness of your being, and the less resistant you'll feel about what's the next logical step for you. And then dementia won't be the necessary means for you to withdraw your attention. In other words, you'll just say, lunch was good, bye.
So, as always, so eloquent, so well explained. It brings a sort of peace and comfort, doesn't it, to really understand it. It's all about focus. I love how she compares it to the baby. You know, we don't sit there and judge the baby for being off in another dimension. And of course, she goes into a lot of the stuff I was talking about earlier. There's nothing to miss ultimately. You don't always want to be with your father. You know, she used the comparison of high school and not wanting your parents there all the time. So, when you understand dementia or Alzheimer's or something like this, in this case where the questioner is dealing with that, it's a soft withdrawal into non-physical, she said. This is a way that is necessary for that being. And of course, she goes on later to say, the more you practice your vortex while still here, the more you understand your eternalness and less resistant about the next step. And then that path to exiting dementia is not even necessary for you. And when you can understand there's always a bigger and better vortex calling you, and that entails this death process, right? It's, whether you're talking about achieving a goal, getting into the vortex or reemerging into non-physical, it's always coming to more because we don't understand the non-physical, we fear it. When you understand that it's just someone moving into their vortex, and I believe it's like a blast off into your vortex. It's like going there and it's like going from 0 to 100 very, very quickly. So that experience is just blissful to, I think of talking to some friends recently who have had 5-MeO DMT experiences where they talk about how powerfully profound that experience is. We're just going from being here physical to all of a sudden being one with all things and just blissed out beyond any words you could ever express as merging with source. And I believe that's a glimpse. That's a way. That's one path for the brave, right? To glimpse what I believe that reemergence and remerging with source is like. And as you accurately contemplate the wholeness of who you are, the less there's fear and the more there's excitement for the adventure. And of course, understanding that impermanence is the only permanence, right? Change is the only thing guaranteed. Moving back into these moments, these precious moments that are your life, don't lose them. Don't be lost fantasizing about some future that may or may not come, certainly won't come exactly as you imagine it, or pining for some past that no longer exist. Move into the now as fully as possible and embrace where you are with what you have, who's around you. Love them, because it's going to change. That's for sure. This makes me think of a song as I leave you guys today that I love. It's an oldie but goodie, one of my favorites. Surprised I haven't played it on the show before, actually. 10,000 Maniacs. These are days. And it's so perfect for this episode. And even talking about the signs that in the review earlier by Lovely Stars and the impermanence of life and the beauty of life. I love this song. The song just gives me chills every time I hear it. Thank you all for being in my now and sharing my journey with me. It is so much more magical because of you. And I am forever grateful to all of you. Until next time, journey well.